My boss chuckled crudely, saying,
Bonuses are wasted on high school graduates.
"This person has consistently hindered my work in the past, and today he pushed me to resign." He remains oblivious, even though it's actually him who will be inconvenienced if I leave. Suppressing my laughter, I signed the resignation letter. My name is George, 27 years old. Having lost my parents early, I was raised by my maternal grandparents. After graduating from high school, I joined a company that develops and sells pet food. It wasn't a large company, but they actively hired people like me with a high school education. However, 5 years after I started working there, the research department developed pet food specifically for senior cats and dogs. The product gained popularity, and the company experienced rapid growth. As a member of the sales department, I became incredibly busy, running around to meet with clients every day. With the company's expansion, the number of job applicants increased, and high school graduates like me became less common. Compared to my college-educated colleagues, I lagged behind in terms of education, and I struggled with tasks that required intellectual effort. Consequently, it wasn't uncommon for highly capable college graduates who joined after me to get promoted ahead of me. But I do love this company. I murmured while feeding my grandparents' elderly cat with our own brand of food. Thanks to our company's pet food, my cat remained lively even after turning 15. Even though I can't seem to get promoted, I still want to continue working at this company. Despite not having an impressive educational background, I work as a salesperson who relies on my own efforts. However, Jack, our department head who was headhunted from another company a few years ago, seems to dislike my approach. Initially, he worked in the materials procurement department, but when a vacancy opened up for the sales department's manager position, he was transferred from materials procurement. Jack, with his impressive educational background, seems to take pride in it. Consequently, he disapproves of me, a high school graduate, achieving decent results.
I don't need subordinates without education. Can you transfer to another department?
When Jack is irritated, he casually makes remarks like this to me. Although he's not always sarcastic, when he's in a bad mood, his snide comments can be quite harsh, so I try to avoid getting too close. Not only with me, but he also tends to be sarcastic toward others who don't meet his high standards. It seems I'm not the only victim of his behavior. One day, it happened. I did it. We're close to finalizing a contract with a major corporation, I exclaimed, and the sales team congratulated me with smiles. This contract with the company has been a long-awaited opportunity, and now, finally, discussions have begun toward formalizing the contract. Although it wasn't the official stage yet, we needed a few more meetings. But at this rate, we could push through to contract completion. I'll do my best to take it all the way to the final agreement, I declared, encouraged by my colleagues' supportive smiles. However, Jack looked at me with an inscrutable expression. The next day, as I checked my belongings before heading to a client meeting, I noticed my handkerchief was missing from my bag. More small items disappeared, making me suspicious. Then, my wallet vanished. Panic set in. With the help of my colleagues, we searched and found my wallet in the company's trash bin.
Did you accidentally throw it away? Making a big fuss over your own mistake is quite a nuisance,
Jack said, his face showing clear exasperation. But I didn't miss the fleeting hint of amusement in Jack's expression. It seems like Jack might be the culprit. That split-second twisted smile made me suspect as much. Since that day, Jack's harassment has only worsened.
Finish this task by tomorrow.
But it's already past working hours.
Are you defying me?
He glared at me sharply. Even though I was getting ready to leave, Jack piled a massive amount of work on me. I end up working overtime almost every day because of this. Even when I complete my tasks diligently, Jack doesn't offer any gratitude. Instead, he calls me out for minor mistakes and scolds me relentlessly. Some sympathetic coworkers tried to intervene, but after Jack's threatening words, no one dared to help me anymore.
It seems you want to experience the same fate as this person.
He sneered. Since then, I've been on my own. While enduring Jack's snide remarks and reprimands, I continued negotiations with the well-known corporation. The contract was substantial, requiring thorough preparation. However, on the day of our final meeting, disaster struck. I don't have the handout materials for the presentation. I realized that the carefully prepared distribution materials were inexplicably missing from my bag. Smirking, Jack approached me.
Oh, were those important? They seemed so shoddy. I mistook them for trash.
Stunned, I listened as Jack continued.
This might ruin the contract. Besides, a significant deal like this was probably beyond your capabilities anyway.
Did Jack prioritize harassing me over the company's success? Suppressing my anger, I ignored his gloating expression and rushed out with the materials I had. Fortunately, a nearly identical PowerPoint presentation. Although I initially created it in PowerPoint, I had remade it in print format for better readability. In the end, we successfully navigated the final meeting, and the contract was signed. This might lead to a promotion. With the bonus coming up, maybe I'll treat my grandparents to dinner. Jack grumbled while reluctantly acknowledging my achievement. However, a week after finalizing the contract, on the eve of bonus payment day, I arrived at work feeling excited. But as soon as I got there, Jack summoned me. He accused me of embezzlement, claiming that I had secured a contract with another company at an unusually low price and pocketed the difference. I haven't done anything like that. I protested. Jack responded.
We have substantial evidence. If this gets out, you'll be fired for sure. But if you sign the resignation letter now, I'll take responsibility and cover it up. You're a criminal for embezzlement, but you're also the one who secured the deal with the major corporation.
With that, Jack handed me a prepared resignation letter and my salary statement. He lifted the salary statement, tore it up right in front of me, and sneered.
Bonuses are wasted on high school graduates.
Then he chuckled crudely. I never embezzled anything. The evidence Jack showed me was cleverly fabricated but entirely baseless. He must have prepared it to discredit me. And Jack, seizing the opportune moment on the eve of bonuses, lured me into this trap. I knew he disliked me, but I never expected it to go this far.
After you leave, I'll take over as the person in charge of that contract. Rest assured, I'll handle it responsibly, so go ahead and quit the company.
It seems that Jack's intention is to take credit for my achievements. Can there really be people in this world who do such unbelievable things? Faced with this shocking reality, I couldn't help but feel like laughing. However, if I laughed here, Jack would probably consider me abnormal. Is it okay for me to leave today?
Yeah, you can quit today.
Understood. I'll sign the resignation letter. Seeing me trembling as I tried to hold back my laughter, Jack misunderstood my agitation as frustration. With a cheerful demeanor, he offered me his pen.
You can borrow my pen.
I returned to my desk, signed the resignation letter, and quickly packed my belongings. While other employees looked surprised, I didn't respond to their expressions. As I left the sales department with my packed belongings, Jack saw me off with a lecherous grin. The day after suddenly quitting my job, I was at home feeling lost. I had already explained everything to my grandmother. My grandfather scolded me, wondering why I hadn't consulted with him. As for Jack, it was my problem, and it wasn't uncommon to be disliked by someone at work. So, I decided not to make a big fuss and didn't consult anyone, neither my coworkers nor my family. I never expected Jack to go so far as to force me out like this. In hindsight, maybe I should have followed my grandfather's advice and talked to someone. But now it's too late. I need to find a new job. As I was preparing to head to the Public Employment Security Office, I received an unexpected call from Jack.
Come here immediately.
Huh? Didn't I officially resign yesterday?
That doesn't matter now. It's a direct order from me, your boss. Get to the office right away.
With those words, Jack hung up. Despite knowing he was the one who pushed me to resign, I put on my suit and headed back to the company. And when I arrived at the company and was led to the meeting room, Mr. Brown exclaimed,
"Well, George. Looks like an executive is here."
The person before me wasn't just an ordinary employee. He was a middle-aged man dressed in a high-end suit, wearing a gentle smile. "Mr. Brown, you're here," I said, surprised, addressing him by name. He was the vice president of the major corporation I had secured a contract with. Sitting across from Mr. Brown was a pale-faced Jack. Seeing Jack, Mr. Brown sighed and said,
"George, didn't you promise you have dinner with Richard and the others once your bonus came through? Yet Richard contacted me yesterday, surprised that you'd been set up. People in this world do unbelievable things."
Richard, as Mr. Brown mentioned, was my grandfather. Yes, Mr. Brown and my grandfather were classmates and good friends. A few years after I joined the company, my grandfather attended a high school reunion. There, he reconnected with his old friend, Mr. Brown. One day, my grandfather asked Mr. Brown, who always seemed downcast, why he appeared so low-spirited. Mr. Brown confessed that his elderly cat had lost its appetite, and although it was inevitable due to old age, he felt concerned. That's when my grandfather recommended the senior cat pet food produced by my company. Although Mr. Brown was aware of pet food, he hadn't considered trying it until he learned it was made by his friend's grandchild's company. To his surprise, the cat responded well, regained energy, and seemed happier. Mr. Brown expressed gratitude, saying that thanks to our company's product, he could spend more time with his beloved pet. Mr. Brown came all the way to my house to thank me. It was then that I learned for the first time that my grandfather's friend was the vice president of a major corporation. And Mr. Brown offered me a chance in sales. He then offered me an unexpected opportunity, a chance to work in sales for his company. However, he emphasized that success would depend on my abilities. Determined to make the most of this opportunity, I worked tirelessly in sales and successfully secured the contract.
I appreciate your efforts. I don't want anyone else handling the tasks related to this contract. I want to work with you.
Before finalizing the contract, Mr. Brown added a clause stating that the contract would be voided if someone other than me became the responsible party. I stifled my laughter when Jack pushed me to resign because I knew that my departure would jeopardize the contract. After signing my resignation letter, I immediately contacted Mr. Brown. His response was succinct.
"Understood. I'll handle it from here."
Little did I expect that he would personally visit our company. A surprising turn of events indeed.
Now, as I mentioned earlier, if he's removed from the assignment, the contract will be void. Please sign this document right now.
Mr. Brown handed the contract cancellation paperwork to Jack. It seemed that Jack had frantically called me after hearing the situation from Mr. Brown. With beads of sweat rolling down his face, Jack turned to me and shouted desperately,
Your resignation is revoked. Come back to the company immediately.
At this point, I couldn't help but be exasperated by Jack's authoritative tone. Jack, you're the one who pushed me to resign. Isn't it selfish to change your mind when it's inconvenient? I won't return. Jack stammered.
Do you realize what you're saying? If this contract falls through, our company will suffer significant losses.
I've already left this company. You threatened to fire me. Whatever happens to this company is none of my concern. That's when Mr. Brown smiled and said to me,
Well, why not join us? There's an opening in the sales department. Having a skilled salesperson like you would be a great help.
Jack pleaded desperately, trying to stop Mr. Brown, clinging to me.
Please, George. Come back.
However, I responded with a heavy sigh. I don't want to work under you. Do you understand the reasons? If I continue working under you, how many false accusations will I have to endure? My words left Jack trembling. Mr. Brown interjected.
Well, while we'd like to avoid canceling the contract we've worked so hard on.
He seemed troubled, and I nodded in agreement. I did want to build my career at this company. But working under this person. Mr. Brown continued.
I see. You want to stay with the company. Let's consult with higher-ups.
He left the meeting room and promptly brought the company president. The president happened to be at the office but was unaware of Mr. Brown's visit. He hurriedly entered the room. The president said sternly,
I've heard the whole situation. You've really done something outrageous.
He glared at Jack, who looked like he might collapse any moment. The president asked,
George, would you return to the company if Jack weren't your boss?
Yes. Under a competent manager, I'd continue working here.
Understood. Let's transfer him to a different department.
Jack's eyes widened at the president's decision.
Wait. Please. I've dedicated myself to this company. I have a good education and am far more capable than this high school graduate.
However, the president shook his head at Jack's words.
You don't seem to understand yourself. If you were genuinely talented, we wouldn't be in this situation. Frankly, you're less capable than George. We'll find a suitable position for you.
Jack slumped in defeat. It's entirely your own doing. From now on, don't bother me when we cross paths at the company. Until now, I've kept quiet because I didn't want trouble. But if anything happens, I'll head straight to the internal consultation office. Jack's shoulders dropped as he listened to my words. Afterward, Jack was promptly transferred. His new department is known for gathering employees at risk of layoffs. While Jack isn't entirely incompetent, there's no guarantee he won't cause another outrageous incident like this one. Gradually, he'll face demotion and eventually disappear from the company. This incident has become the subject of office gossip, and cold glances are now directed at Jack. Losing his position, combined with his already deflated spirits, will likely be a final blow. As for the sales department, the current section chief will take over as the new manager, and I've successfully returned to the company. From now on, I can work freely without interference from Jack.
How did you like this video? Please subscribe as well. Let's meet again in the next video.